Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Drunk Friend podcast, episode 24. I'm Friend. He's Drunk. This is Drunk Friend. Alex, how are things going, man? We didn't see you in the old YouTube feed this week, which you took that vacation not long ago. Or is this another vacation?
I don't like to think of it like that because it sounds like I'm lazy. But no, it's just one of those things where I'm still learning stuff as I go when it comes to this whole YouTube process thing, I guess, when it comes to this creative adventure that I'm on somehow. The first time I took a break, it was only a couple weeks, and it wasn't a break. I kept thinking about writing and recording and ideas and making notes and playing games and doing all this usual stuff I did. I just wasn't posting videos, and that's not a break. So this time around, it's like, okay, this is a real break, and I really need it because this time of year is really bad for me. It's allergy season, like in the thick of it. I work at a school, and we're getting ready for the beginning of the fall semester, which is our busiest time of the year. So that has me busy with my real job. What's the other stupid thing? Oh, it's hot as hell every single day in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 100 degrees every day, and that does something. That does something to your energy level for sure, and that's tough to deal with. And it's just a confluence of things that come together, and it's what about you? You don't have a video this week.
I was hoping
you're one to talk.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have an old compilation vid. You know my rules. You know how it goes. So yeah, I got one coming out next week that's going to be a little bit longer. So I tend to take a break before those. Mainly, just I kind of build those in. That way, I can always stay a little bit ahead of the game. Because like you used to be when you were one point you talked about how you were pretty far ahead. And then that kind of crept up on you. And you've been kind of working like, a day in advance or so. And I don't know if I could do that, man. I really don't. So I like to keep it all out in front of me. But to your point, yeah, I think a break is good. You definitely don't want it to be a burden. I mean, I know you reach a point at some point you reach where it's maybe you kind of depend on it mentally. It's kind of the thing that's always there. It's the thing that a lot of the nights of your week are devoted to either playing the game or writing the script or editing, and so I get that it leaves a big void that you really don't know what to fill it with other than maybe anxiety about other things. So I totally get it. But I think a break's good for you, dude. I'm really excited for a legitimate break. And do you have any idea how long it's going to be? You just going to ride it out until it feels good?
I honestly don't care.
Good.
And you know what? That's a really nice feeling to just not care. You know what I'm filling the void with is Fall Guys and Mario Sports Superstars for 3DS.
Hell yeah!
Those are the only games I've been playing lately, and I know Fall Guys is basically the new Fortnite, but it is really fun.
Yeah,
it's despite the amount of cheating that's already rampant in that game, it's still pretty damn fun. I love the competitiveness. I love the ridiculous obstacle courses and the physics of the characters. You're familiar with the game. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I've not played it because I don't play anything on my PC because I'm afraid if I make my PC do anything besides edit video or audio, the house will burn down. And I also don't have a PS4. But I have in our Discord some people have gotten together to play, and I've actually watched. And I don't typically have a ton of fun watching people play games unless I know the person. But it was so much fun watching everybody just scream and get mad and their silly characters not do what they wanted them to do and stuff like that. Just it's so entertaining to play and watch.
Once they get knocked down, they have a hard time standing back up.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. But it's frustrating in kind of a fun way, so I enjoy that.
Yeah, there's something to that, yeah.
I also, I've put probably about 25 hours in the last 2 weeks into Mario Sports Superstars for 3DS. I love sports games, man. It's just how I've always been. Mm-hmm. And if I can get my hands on a 3DS to USB capture thing, I'm telling you, this might be a thing. If that happens, those are extremely rare, and they're really, really expensive if you manage to find one. But man, I would love to do like a serious play-by-play of like Mario Baseball, where I'm playing as Bowser and Yoshi versus Rosalina and Luigi or something like that. And it's just like, that's a terrible play by Bowser. What was he thinking? Terrible lapse in judgment. Rosalina to second on an error. You know, it's like,
That'd be
I
great.
just love the straight, you know, playing that deadpan with those characters would be a lot of fun. That game is a collection of sports games, by the way. It's soccer, baseball, golf, tennis, and horse racing. And holy crap, the tennis is legit in that game. It is hard as hell.
Yikes!
Like, just playing the computer. Golf is golf. Golf is easy for me on sports games because I've been playing golf games for a million years. Tennis, holy crap! Get my ass kicked at tennis. Like, oof, just big time. But I'm really enjoying the hell out of that game. And so I'm having fun forgetting about the usual stuff I play, I guess.
That's interesting, and I think it would be, you know, if your channel came back as just a parody channel where you did your best Joe Buck over Mario sports games, I think that would be hilarious. I'm all for that. Please do it.
As long as I have Troy Aikman next to me saying, "You're exactly right. That's what happened," agreeing with everything I say.
Very agreeable guy, that Troy. But yeah, I guess no videos between the two of us. I guess we're just podcasters now. We're living the lowly life of a podcaster.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, this is the progression people make now. Remember how, like, old sports writers, you know, they'd write for newspapers like Tony Kornheiser, Michael Wilbon, Dan Le Batard, all those guys. They write for newspapers, and then they slowly make the transition to TV, and then their newspaper column is like once a week, and then once a month, and then like 3 times a year, and then they're just on TV all the time. That's us. Yeah, we're just gonna wean off of YouTube and just be the podcast guys.
And then when their face exits the TV friendly phase, they move into podcasts. So everybody always ends up on a podcast.
I think Kornheiser reached that point years ago, but I might be a little mean, but
he probably would agree. And so would Troy Aikman. So up next, we have some emails. First email is from John Allen Riggs. He says, Dear Drunk Friend podcast, thanks for answering my question about Tommy Boy, the game, a while ago. 2 quick questions. First, is there a 90s song more embarrassing than Return to Innocence by Enigma? Let's spend some time on this first, Alex. Can you think of a song more embarrassing than the Hey oh I oh hi oh that song that was in every Charmin commercial?
That was pretty good. That was impressive. It's funny because when I think of that song, I think of my friend from 6th grade. His name was Nick. And the reason I'm convinced the reason this song anybody even knows this song is because it was like the main song featured in this commercial for a CD for new wave music. Or not new wave music, that's not right. New age music. New wave music. That's like Susie and the Banshees and the Cure and stuff. Yeah. New age music. That's was like Enya, Enigma,
like the stuff on that Pure Moods CD that came out.
Exactly. Yeah. Lisa Gerrard, that sort of stuff. And this was like the feature song on it, and my friend Nick would come to class, and anytime he would walk through a door, he would just start that like at the top of his lungs, any room he entered, and God, it made me laugh every time. So I don't think that song is embarrassing if I have positive memories of it, thanks to my friend from grade school. As to what his song would be more embarrassing, I think there's there's all sorts of like grunge ripoff. So, I mean, there's your favorite. There's 7 Mary 3 and cumbersome, yeah.
there is that, and I liked your Metallica cover there. And there's also the Barbie song by Aqua. That one's kind of embarrassing, I would say.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
Yeah, that's the one.
Pretty bad.
His second question. He says, it looks like there's finally plans to create a Seinfeld video game, which is funny. This isn't an email because it comes up later in the episode. We do these things out of order, so weird. He says, but it's 2 decades late. But what if, during the early 1990s, someone made an NES or Super NES game based on Seinfeld. Huh.
For some reason, when I picture that, I picture like a really bad platformer that looks like one of the Home Alone games and has like Jerry bouncing around on the streets of New York.
Yeah.
And it's just bad.
I kind of picture the Home Improvement game, but with just a different sprite. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's really bad. I would love a Seinfeld RPG, though, and we get into that later in the episode.
Yeah.
I would love, imagine a Super Nintendo turn-based RPG. I mean, you've got 4 party members.
Yeah.
And you've got enemies. You've got the man with the cape. You've got Newman. You've got maybe Lloyd Braun could be an enemy. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the idea of maybe taking some of the episodes, because a lot of them, it's a show about nothing, but sometimes there is an action climax. And I especially remember the one where I think George gets a high score on an arcade machine.
On Frogger.
Yeah, and they're going to unplug it, so he tries to get it still powered back to his apartment because they're going to get rid of it. Like, that could be a whole mission. That could be like an escort mission where you have to keep him from getting hit by cars and stuff while he's got the thing, and I don't know. Could be fun.
Absolutely. And then there's the episode where Bette Midler is going to be... She's playing in a charity softball game, and is it George that runs her over at home plate? Like, there's that, and then she would be... And then Kramer would defect from your party and join Bette Midler, and you'd have to fight both Bette Midler and Kramer.
Oh, man.
So I think that would be interesting.
We have ideas. Somebody reach out to us. We have ideas.
But John Allen Riggs concludes his email by saying, thanks for reading.
You're welcome, John.
You're welcome. And then we got an email from Mark that says, Dear Drunk Friends, parenthetical, insert mean comment, insert mean insult here, parenthetical, kind regards, insert funny sounding nickname here, parenthetical.
Pretty standard email there.
You played that pretty well. Good reactions there.
Good email, Mark. Thank you for the mean insult. It really hurt. And your nickname
really hurt.
Is hilarious.
I'm going to need a lot of drugs to sleep tonight. A lot of drugs.
More than usual.
A lot of drugs.
Okay, up next. You got the easy email. Up next here, Sean.
I'll do this one. I don't care. We got Sean. He says, "Hi guys, I'm loving the podcast. Thank you. I'm a longtime subscriber to SNES Drugs channel. Thank you. 2 of my favorite SNES games. Why am I saying SNES? I always say SNES. 2 of my favorite SNES games, Front Mission Gun Hazard and Star Ocean, are games I would have never have played without watching your channel. My question for the both of you is, what are your favorite boss battles? Furthermore, what are some less obvious games with the great boss battles? Thanks, Sean, a.k.a. Button Masher." And I just want to say Button Masher is a great name. If you want to start a YouTube channel as like Button Masher, I think that's a solid name. I think it's a pretty good name.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's not a funny sounding nickname as Mark parodized earlier. I think it's a solid nickname.
I think it's pretty good.
So I can start on favorite boss battles here. I think a game, speaking from the NES side of things, I think games that typically have my favorite boss battles are things like Castlevania, like the creepy haunted house stuff. I always love fighting, the Medusas and the Draculas and the vampires and the werewolves and the Frankensteins and all that stuff. It's always stuff that's appealed to me. I like spooky movies. I like scary movies. I like that whole genre. So when those guys are bosses, it's always cool to me, even if they're little basic 2D sprite guys. So I think those are always my favorite boss battles. And in Castlevania, obviously they're great games. Zelda had, maybe not Zelda 1. I felt like the bosses in that were a little bit weak visually. But Zelda 2 had some good ones on the NES. Some that are less obvious games with great boss battles. Monsters in My Pocket, that's another Konami game. And one of the memorable ones in that one is like you're on a boat, and in Monsters in My Pocket, you're basically just little toy figure guys. So everything is around you is larger than life. Like you're hopping through dresser drawers and stuff. You're just little toys. But in one of them, you're like on a boat, and one of the bosses is this giant octopus that comes up out of the water with its tentacles slapping at you and stuff. It looks pretty cool for the NES. So I'd say, in terms of a boss battle, I can't remember if that was particularly fun or not, but it definitely looked cool. And I like it when a boss screen or boss battle looks really, really cool. And actually, another one before I pass it off to you, I just played through Gargoyles 2 on the NES, and that's just a vibrant, beautiful game in general. And the bosses in that, they just look cool, and I like it when they look awesome.
Yeah, and that leads me to my first choice for like underrated boss battles. People that might sleep on them is a game called Sky Blazer. It's a 2D action platformer. It's got some really interesting boss fights with some interesting mechanics, where there's one boss that keeps getting bigger the more you hit it, but there's another one that I really like that rotates around as kind of like a Yoshi's Island effect that kind of spins around, and you have to jump in between the gap in the wall that comes at you. It's really creatively done. There aren't too many games that do that. That game's got some really interesting stuff going on in it. So there's that. Sky Blazer. There's also, believe it or not, I'm planning a 13 hardest boss battles list video.
Oh, man.
And
no one will comment on that. No one's going to say anything. They're going to ignore that video completely. That's not going to get anybody riled up or angry about what you think.
Yeah, exactly. Where's this boss? Yeah, it's... I don't want to give too much away. I will say, though, that pretty much every boss and mini-boss in Contra 3 is the greatest. It's just the boss that climbs the wall with you. It's not even a boss. It's a mini-boss. It's just an enemy. It's so freaking cool. Like, I love that thing. Then there's the giant Terminator head that comes at you at the end of that level. Pretty much any boss in Contra 3 is the best. There's also Mario RPG with the secret boss with Kulex, where the Final Fantasy music kicks in. That's fun. Boy, I don't know. Other than that, I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, I will say, just for the record, for as hard of a game as Super Ghouls and Ghosts is, the boss fights in that game are ridiculously easy.
Really?
Like, ridiculously easy. Yeah, the first boss you fight is that giant chicken thing. And it spits eggs out of its mouth at you, and it's really easy. Honestly, the second level boss is probably the hardest boss in the game, because you have to deal with the rising and falling water, and it shoots missiles periodically. But the third level boss is easy as hell. The fourth level boss is easy. The final boss is even easy. You just have to keep your distance, and I mean, what a disappointment that is.
Yeah.
That might be, maybe I'll make a
disappointing
top 13 disappointing boss fights, and it'll be all Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
You know, I think a genre that usually has some pretty good looking and pretty difficult boss battles are the shoot 'em ups, and things like Gunnak and Life Force, and there's another one out there, Abadox. Abadox in general is just
Abadox is gross.
Yeah, grody looking game, but the boss is always memorable. So yeah, I'd say that's, again, I won't speak on whether they're easy or hard, but from just a visual aspect, I like it when they take up like half the screen, and I'm actually physically afraid of it. So,
yeah, R-Type is the master of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up, we have a pretty good interview with our pal Jason Heine. Jason is, he's very memorable for me. Going way back, he might have been what I would consider the person that kind of got me into an online retro gaming community as a thing. Like, I didn't know other people were into it, and when I found the All Gen Gamers podcast with him and a lot of his folks there, Pete Dorr, Gamester 81, I was kind of like, oh, there's YouTube. It kind of was my gateway into this whole thing that we do here. So I have a lot to thank Jason for, and he does everything. He's got thrifting videos. He does stuff with fast food. He's always very musically inclined, audio engineering, all that stuff. And the interview is awesome. He's a very funny guy. And he's got a cool project coming out that he talks about later in the episode, too, that everyone can get their hands on pretty soon.
Jason's a very positive guy. He's a very happy guy, and he's very pleasant to listen to. He's got a great voice. We have a penchant for having people with nice voices on this podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's on purpose or if that's just a happy coincidence or a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. But you have to suffer through our two voices. So the worst that the best we can do is serve up some happy voices for you. But Jason is a really nice guy, and he's been around for a long time. around YouTube, around podcasts, around gaming. The guy knows his stuff, plain and simple, and he's very knowledgeable, very cultured when it comes to gaming, and I really appreciate that about him. He's a great guy to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to have him back on already. And so, after a little bit of cooler, get ready for some Jason Heine. All right, Jason, thanks so much for joining us here on the Drunk Friend podcast. We really appreciate it. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. No, I appreciate the invite. I'm fantastic. It's so good to meet you guys, Trav, Alex. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, no problem. I think it's kind of funny because when Alex and I first started this podcast, Alex, he's a guy, he's got ambitions, he's got high hopes, and he was like, "Who do you want as a guest?" Eventually, like, we'll work our way up. We'll get some cool people. He was like, I'm thinking about maybe getting, I don't know, like Tom Cruise or Obama or something. And I was like, just give me that Jason Heine,
You know what? Yeah, exactly. Just cut to the chase. Let's just get the real deal here.
Yeah, we want a real true blue Missourian on our podcast.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. Talk about my scam stuff. Yeah, we could talk about that. I think we should talk about that eventually.
Yeah, we'll definitely get there. But certainly, I told Alex, I was like, it would be great to get Jason on. I followed him for a while, the All Gen Gamers podcast, all that stuff. I was like, I kind of don't want to just drop it on him and just be like, hey, man, I know you don't know who I am. You want to do a podcast? So I'm like, I'm going to stalk his streams for a couple weeks, do the old slow burn, get on the inside, And I happened in there one night and you were like, you know what? And you were talking about how, like, you're very skilled, you're a very good audio engineer, and people always ask you to help with their podcast, but they never want to talk to you on the thing. And I was like, this is perfect, Jason, please. I would love the whole, please come on my podcast. So you were nice enough to oblige. And sometimes things just fall in your lap like that. So thanks again for agreeing to come on. I know, it was kind of out of the blue, but hey, it worked out.
No, absolutely. You pretty much summed it up. That's exactly how it went down. See, here's the thing. Here's the big I guess I don't know if it's a misconception or not, but unfortunately, we live in a world where, for whatever reason, people aren't very nice. Let's just call it what it is. People aren't very nice. So, like, for whatever reason, you would think that most people wouldn't want to talk, wouldn't want to get on, wouldn't want to hang out, wouldn't want to do something. I'm the complete opposite. I've always been about community. I've always embraced that in everything that I do. And it's actually very uncommon, I feel, because a lot of, YouTubers or podcasters or people, it's like, this is what we do. Like, what's the point of doing all of this, of building something, of creating content or entertainment and engaging with people when you don't engage with people? That's what I've always said. And so that was I had a little rant on my Twitch stream. I'm like, no one invites me to podcasts. I've been podcasting for 10 years now, 10 years. And it's like, I want to help people. I want to help them grow. I want to continue to create and inspire and be around like-minded people. And that's really the main goal. So, your slow burn was the right thing to do. However, you could have just come right out and said, "Hey, yo, what's up? Like, we need to talk." And I would have researched your show and been like, "Yeah, these guys are dope. Let's do it." So, but I appreciate it again, and excited to chat with you guys.
No, I was just gonna say the thing with you though is that you're not only building community on YouTube, you're building community on Twitch through podcasts, through all sorts. You're not just sitting with games or anything like that. You're doing Facebook spammers, saying you're from Missouri. I was real sad. Trav and I were both sad you never got to talk about your time in Missouri with them. They seemed really interested at first, but then, it kind of fell off there. So here's your chance, though. If you want to talk about your time in Missouri, we're going to give you that spotlight. What was it like growing up there?
Seriously, like a poll. Okay, so let me just break it down because no one likes an inside joke. So listen, so your listeners, here's what we're referring to. So recently,
that's what we're trying to do, though. We're trying to get them hook, line, and sinker. Like, what is this Missouri stuff we're talking about? But
exactly,
it's freaking hilarious, though.
And I've never been to Missouri. I have no idea. I've driven through it. I have no idea. So what's happening? We did stay in Joplin. Yeah, you're right. We did get stuck there for 3 days. It was cold, very cold. Great truck stop. Glad they had Taco Bell. That was fantastic. I OD'd on Baja Blast, the old Baja Beast. It was so good. I think my girlfriend, I've never seen her eat so much pizza in her life. It was great. Pizza Hut was there. Okay, anyway. So what's happening recently, and this is all new. So on my show, on my podcast, I talk about tech and I talk about gaming and stuff. I usually in the tech section, I talk about like, I try to make people aware and keep them abreast of like, scamming and phishing and hacks and things like that, just so that we're all kind of in the know. There's a lot to keep up. Basically, we're being hacked right now. Like, your password is being stolen right now somewhere. It's just the reality of it. So I try to report and at least let people know like, hey, this is happening. But recently what's happening is I'm getting a lot of friend requests on Facebook. At the time I was reporting it, I was getting like 10 to 15. I'm getting like 20 now a day. And they're mostly fake accounts, just phishing accounts. And that's phishing with a P. And it's a form of scamming and trying to get your data, your information and stuff like that. And if you're not in the know, you may be like, oh, it's a really cute girl talking to me. Like, no, it's typically not. It's typically a dude in a cubicle somewhere else, trying to just
Named
get your
Bruce.
data. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, anyway, long story short, what's happening is they're writing me, but I'm keen to it. I know what they're doing. I actually know the entire plan of what they're trying to do. So I play with them. And so what's happening is they're writing me and they're just like, hey, like it all starts the same. Like they basically have a script, and they just have the script that they read. And they're like, hey, how are you? And they're like, where are you from? What do you do for a living? And it just goes right in. Like basically they go right in for your social security number. Like they just jump right in. And so I just start making up shit. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm from Missouri. Or no, they said they were from Missouri. She was like, I'm from Missouri. And I just pull up fucking Wikipedia and I go right there and I'm like, Missouri. I start looking up all the data, start looking up all the stuff. And I just play with them. And I'm like 4 days in on this like relationship. And I was telling my girlfriend, hey, you're looking at a married man. I just got married today. Like we literally got married on Facebook. And I'm it's great. And I can't wait to and I'm expressing, I can't wait to share our love and our passion and she like wants to get to know me. But now the big thing, dudes, listen to this. She's like, we need to get over to WhatsApp. Boom. I was wondering where is this going? Because you can't do a whole lot on Facebook Messenger. Like WhatsApp, there's different ways to kind of hack the system and get security codes so they can log into my shit and do all the stuff. So anyway, I'm doing this for science, for your health, and to share with the great world of just be careful out there. Be very vigilant. There's a lot of phishing, especially with COVID happening right now. Everyone's on lockdown. There's actually a new one that I'll report on later in the week where they're using voice over IP to try to get your data. It's a scary place, and if you don't know, you may get got. And so I just want to try to let everyone know that, hey, man, this stuff's going on. So just be careful out there. Be very, very careful. That's all. But I like to have fun with them. I like to fuck with them because if I can waste their time a little bit, then, not that it stops them. I know it doesn't. It won't stop them, whatever. But if I can waste their time a little bit, like an hour or two, in this case, 4 fucking days, it's been amazing.
Jeez.
Then that stops them from wasting 4 days scamming someone else who might be
somebody else. Exactly. Somebody else who might be more susceptible. I'm sure if you've heard of Kit Boga.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That guy has got, he does something similar, only he goes to the point where he creates characters. Like he's got Edna, the old lady, and he's got this voice changer thing that he uses that makes him sound like so convincing as this like 80-year-old woman. And she, as a character, she takes this approach that's like the Abe Simpson approach of like, I can't do an Abe Simpson impression, but it's like, you got to tell stories that don't go anywhere. Like the time I needed to go to take a ferry to Morganville, I needed a new heel for my shoe. And then the guy on the other end is like, ma'am, please, ma'am, listen to me, ma'am. And he just keeps going forever. So I got a big time amount of respect for the people that put in the time to do that, because it's exactly what you said. It's, you're preventing them from making use of their time to actually scam somebody. Right. So kudos to you for that.
Appreciate that.
And
Thank you.
The laugh out loud, I guess, spoiler of the whole Missouri thing was at the very end of your back and forth. They kind of ghosted you, and your your response was like, well, hey, anytime you want to talk about Missouri, I'm here, and that made me laugh. That was good.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, hey, I would love to talk more about Missouri. Love to talk about that. Love to
that
talk
was the
about
cherry on the
that
sundae
state
for
capital.
sure.
Would love to know, all about that greenery, whatever you got going on. Good shit.
Good stuff. So yeah, man, I guess speaking of podcasting, let's go back, I don't know, about 10 years. The All Gen Gamers podcast, that was how I was first introduced to you. And yeah, it's definitely been a while. It's hard. When I looked up how long it had been, I was like, man, 10 years, really? Is that for real? Can you talk a little bit about, like, you don't have to go in like great detail and like give us the whole archive of your memory bank, but what was that like? How did you get into that? How did you get into that group and all of that?
Well, in 2010, a few YouTubers that I watched, Pete Dorr, Happy Console Gamer, and Gamester81, they collaboratively got together and said that they were going to do a podcast, and I was really excited for that. So they began to do a podcast. They started it, and Pete was recording it. He was in charge of that, and they got a few episodes in, and me kind of just listening to it, me being the audio guy, I was like, oh man, I love these guys, and I'd followed these guys for, since about 2008 when they started. And so I'm sitting here going, I want to help these guys. Their audio sucks. They know it sucks. They say it sucks. Pete says, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out. And so I saw a place where I could actually lend a hand, step in and help them. And so I met Gamester, actually. We ended up, funny story is, we were actually neighbors. We lived in the same neighborhood here in Arizona, which is trippy.
Huh.
Yeah, when I met him, he was just like, hey, man, he asked me to be on the show, actually. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And he's like, okay, cool. And then we just had a conversation. He's like, hey, man, you're in Arizona. I'm in Arizona. We should like go to a game store. And I was like, yeah. And then we just talked. And he was like, where do you live? And I was like, well, I live, in this city. Like, well, I live in this city. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I live by this store. He's like, well, I live by that store. I come to find out, he's like, holy shit, we're in the same neighborhood. So like we were walking distance. It was small world, crazy. Right? So crazy. So anyway, everything aligned. Everything was really cool. And I was on the show, episode 6 actually of their show. And I proposed to them to just be their producer, just to produce the show and edit it and do all that. I wasn't even wanting to be a guest or a host. So, but after episode 6, it was very clear the chemistry was there. They were very thrilled. Pete was so thrilled that someone else was going to take the reins on the audio, because it's tough. You guys know, editing shows and stuff like that. It's not easy. It's an art form, and so I took the reins there. But I became a host, and from there, I mean, it's just been that's it, man. The rest is history. It was All Gen Gamers was. I mean, today I still get people write me. I get messages every day, and people talking about it and rediscovering it. And it was the first podcast of its time. I mean, the only other podcast in that day was, I think IGN had one, and I think Classic Game Room had some sort of almost kind of vlog style thing. I don't know if it was a podcast, but there wasn't any real gaming podcast. And this is a weird time. A lot of people can't imagine it. Imagine a time when you would like type in podcast in your app, and there'd be like 1 or 2 gaming podcasts. Like it was a niche thing, right? And so they started All Gen Gamers based on just YouTubers, just the YouTube community, in the gaming community, to do a show and to talk about retro and modern games, the gaming. I mean, that was the intro that I did. It's All Gen Gamers, a podcast for video games of all generations. And that's really what it was based off of. And man, it just really took off. People really enjoyed it. And I mean, 10 years later, here we are. And we're not recording it currently, but we did 202 episodes. And it was really about a solid 8 years of just pure joy. We had so many great guests on, and it was a magical time, man. A magical time for gaming, for the YouTube community, for growth. And it was a great show. And it is a great show, even to this day.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's still listenable. I think a lot of it still holds up. And to your point, I mean, and I'll say this, I absolutely love Pete. Even his audio and his videos that he makes now isn't great. So like you definitely did wonders for the podcast. And you did like this thing, I think, where you like I think you had like a highlight thing, like a I don't know, you put together some sort of compilation, I think, of the show that was pretty awesome. So yeah, you definitely improved the quality quite a bit, not just in the audio stuff, but obviously being there. And I got to ask though, all those guys that you did the podcast with, I know some came and went. I think Happy Console Gamer left at some point. Metal Jesus stepped in. Sexy Ben stepped in, and there was some rotation. Do you still keep in touch with all those guys? I mean, I'm sure you still follow their YouTube channels, but are you still, do you hear from them?
Yeah, I do. I do still keep in touch with them. Of course, it's not as often as before, of course, because we're not actually, creating content together anymore. But
right.
I absolutely do. I talk with MJR. I talk with Gamester on and off. Definitely, I talk, I think, more with Pete, just because him and I are in a very similar wheelhouse of, we have the stream schedule on Twitch, and I mean, I've always been creating content on YouTube. I've never stopped. So yeah, we definitely keep in touch, and those are all my boys, and through the ups and downs. Through the thick and thin, it's like in the end of the day, we all created something special, and I've been really the core driver of this sort of thing, and taking that role as producer for the show, it's different than just being a host, right? Of just showing up, doing your part and leaving. There's a whole bunch of back end stuff, and I've definitely I feel really great about what we created and what we did, and I loved it. It was great.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear that you guys still stay in touch. It would be like, finding out your favorite band, didn't get along after it was all, and you'd be like, damn, man, I wish those guys still liked each other. But no, it's good to know that you guys stay in touch. So that's good to hear.
Well, you mentioned YouTube there for briefly, and you've been on there for 10 years as well. So I have to ask, in your opinion, what have been the biggest changes that have affected your channel over the years when it comes to like the YouTube format, when it comes to your format and how it fits what YouTube demands of you? Yeah, so I never have conformed to that of what YouTube demands and what they want. And that's probably why, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. But the reality is that YouTube in 2010, 2008, 2009, 2010, and even up until probably, I would say 2013, 2014 is when things started to really shift. It was completely different. I mean, there was a real community there. And that was something that was embraced by all of us back in that day. And I still continue to do so, even though the reality is that YouTube makes it extremely difficult for your community, for your viewers to actually see your content. You guys all know this. You upload videos and stuff. You've been doing it for years. Now, the algorithm, it's YouTube will push what they want to push that generates the most revenue for them, or watch time and whatnot. So watch time has changed. There was a time when we were trying to do view duration. There was a time when it was all about subs. And reality is, any YouTuber today will tell you, anyone who knows, it's not even about the subs. It's about the watch time. It's about who engages and watches and for how long. That's what they look at. And there has been, there's been shifts. That was one big shift. I remember a time when you could subscribe to a channel and then later on that day, just refresh your feed and you'll get like videos from whatever you subscribe to. It's not the case anymore. Bro, you have to go in and you have to subscribe. Listen to this. I mean, everyone knows this, but you have to subscribe, okay? Then you have to enable notifications like in your browser. Then you have to enable notifications in your settings, all right? Then you have to go to your mobile device, because that can be a blocker too, and enable push notifications on your device to be able to get that through the app. I mean, there's so many blockers now to where, and it happens even on Twitch. People are like, wait a minute, why didn't I get to know your feed? It's like, because one little area you have notifications blocked, it blocks it on everything. It's like, well, fuck, I got 3 iPads and I got, it's like, yeah, you're going to have to do all this stuff. It's just, it really sucks. So they've also done a shitty job de-emphasizing comments where you talk about community, and that's not just between content creators. By the way, just a side note on that. Do you remember video replies?
Oh, dude.
From way back when?
I had Pete Pete Dorr on my show like a couple months ago, and we talked about this specifically. Those were awesome.
Yeah, those were really a cool touch. I remember somebody, I forget who it was, created a video game quiz. It was music, and I would post my own video response of like me listening to this quiz and then like saying the name of the game and then going back, and that person would come back to me and like, okay, you got 6 right or out of 10 or something like that. It was kind of cool, and that's completely gone. The comments are just a dumpster fire.
Yep,
like
absolutely.
I don't look at comments at all ever. Really, if you do, you get what you deserve, because it's especially once you get to a certain threshold where it's just you get more non-subs watching than subs, so you get more people, more drive-by comments that are just, you know, rude and entitled and just lousy. They're there to treat the comment section as their own personal, you know, toilet, basically.
100%. I mean, I've said this, dude. If you want to figure out if you have thick skin or not, make a top 20 video of your favorite games, bro, and then put that online and click publish. Dude, I have people every day telling me to go kill myself over my video I did like 10 years ago, my favorite top 20 NES video games, and people are like, you don't have Metroid, go kill yourself. It's like, whoa.
Yeah,
please.
it's a bit aggressive. Yeah, I told Daria this a few weeks ago. Listen, if you want views on YouTube, do something about what video games are hard and what video games are not hard, because that will get people crawling out of the woodwork.
Oh, dude, totally.
About like, that game's not hard, this game is hard. You know, I beat this game when I was 4. You know, and it's just people cannot help themselves when it comes to talking about having a pissing contest about what games are tough and what games aren't tough. You know, like my video for 13 hardest Super Nintendo games made in 2016 still gets like 6 or 7 comments every freaking day about like, Superstar is easy, and you know, it's like, fine, it's easy, fine, okay. I don't know what you want me to say. What is the appropriate response to that? And you know what? I don't care, because these are just mental calories that I'm, you know, it's the McDonald's equivalent of mental calories. So you can just run off. But no, I see. I hear what you mean, though. It's you have to have thick skin to even glance at comments, and that's a shame, because it used to be, it was easier to recognize names that would come up regularly.
Oh, yeah. You
and be like, oh,
you know?
it's that guy. Oh, yeah, that's fun. We can have like a quick conversation across like 6 or 7 comments, and we'll recommend videos to each other and blah blah blah. And yeah, and that's gone. Good luck doing that now. It does not happen.
100%. And it's tough, because I still love making YouTube videos. I still love doing it. And
it's fun.
Yeah. And it's like, you just kind of have to continue to do it on your own terms and understand that when you jump into it. And, you know, those of us have been around for a while on there, people ask, you know, about starting YouTube channels and stuff. And I've always said it, man, just do it because you love it. You better not have any expectations or, you know, high hopes when it comes to this. Just do it because you enjoy it and have fun with it, because it is fun, and it still is fun.
I think for me and Trav, just speaking for, I'm going to speak for you, Trav. Oh, okay. I think for me, for me and Trav, I think for us, the draw is like, what is this game? Let's find out, and then let's show everybody what it is. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's that simple. At least it is for me, where it's just like, here's this weird ass Super Famicom game. What is this game? I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to find out. I'm going to write some notes and write a script about it, and then put it out there. And that's fun. I like doing that, because I like, you know, I'm sharing a hobby, and I like finding out about this stuff that, you know, this game was made in the early 90s, mid 90s, and I had no idea it existed when I was in my, you know, Super Nintendo playing prime. So I feel like I'm still catching up on all those games I missed out on. So yeah, like you said, it's just make sure it's fun and it's something you like doing.
Totally. Yeah, man, you said it.
Yeah, and I think the motivation is, as long as it's outside of what YouTube can give you. Like if your motivation is like, I want to get like 1,000 subs and I want to have, all of this stuff. Like, no, you don't. Your motivation should be like what Alex said. You're interested in the games and you want to share what you find out about the games, or else you'll be really disappointed when you find out that it's harder than it looks to get people to actually click on stuff. But speaking of which, you did the Emu review, and that was your channel for a long time before you made it Heine House Entertainment, and you still do. I guess you still do reviews on occasion. Is that right?
Yeah, once in a while. Yeah, I do. I kind of moved a little bit away from that, but yeah, I do from time to time. I mean, recently I did a top 20 Super Nintendo games video last beginning of the year, I think. Or end of last year. Yeah, I do.
I got a bone to pick with you about that.
All right, let's talk. Let's do it.
I'm just kidding.
Go kill yourself. I just got to get it out of the way. I know it's coming.
Dear God, no.
I'm just kidding.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Speaking of though, we're talking about like your community, and you've always sort of been the guy that's you've really always been the guy that sort of fostered positivity, even in your reviews of things. It's not like this game is garbage and I hate it. It's always everything that you do is very uplifting. And I think that's why I'm drawn to a lot of your stuff, Jason, is because it's the vibes. You have this like you're just a pair of sunglasses in the early 90s, man. You're just a cool guy. First and foremost, all of your videos, you just exude this coolness. I mean, whether it's like you're playing racing games, your reviews are always upbeat. You make thrifting videos fun. I know people that make thrifting videos that couldn't be less fun. Right, but yours are always great. You got Nerf guns hanging out there. You're going through a drive-through and being hilarious. I mean, is that just you're like magnetic? Is that just who you are, or do you have to like? Do you put that on?
You're the kid. You're the kid on the cover of Kid Chameleon for Sega Genesis is what
you are. Were you that guy? Was that you? But no, really, is that Jason Heine al natural, or is that a persona for the camera?
Dude, that is who I am. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about it, is that I just always wanted to roll the camera and just have fun and just do whatever the case may be, whether we're out thrifting or we're going through the drive-through like you talked about, making game reviews, talking about stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm a pair of sunglasses in the 90s. I like that. I take that as a compliment. I like that. Yeah, man, it's just the way that I am. And I feel like there's so much negativity, and I know that I will get less less traffic, less attention, less this, less that, because I think people migrate to the drama more for whatever reason. And I've never been in that camp. So I just want to be myself, whether that be my quirky self. And I think the people who see it and can, latch on to what we're doing over here, I would love to hang out with you. It's like, I mean, that's the whole brand. That's the whole Heine House brand. That's where the name of my business came from. Heine House Entertainment. Is that growing up when I was a kid, like all the kids wanted to come over to the Heine House because we even my parents, like I'm best friends with my parents, like they encouraged us to have fun, have friends over. We had the video games, we had the Super Nintendos, we had, we set up the projector for the N64 to do Mario Kart, and we had the Capri Suns and the Lunchables ready to go. Yeah, bro. Yeah, exactly. So it was just it was the cool place to be, and it's always been that. And even today, it's like I'm sitting here across from my girlfriend, and I'm looking at her, and I'm telling her I love her because I converted the entire house into basically my studio, recording studio, Twitch live stream, DJ set, drum room. Like it's amazing. And we just have a really great time. And we want to share positivity and laughs, dude. That's it. Love it.
Well, hello, Stephanie.
They're saying hi to you, Stephanie. They're
hi.
She's here.
Hope you enjoyed what was it? Sonic tater tots from the other day.
The s'mores, the s'more shake, the
s'more shake. That's what it was.
Yeah. Dude, people are sending me they're sending me pictures now of like them in the drive-thru. And they all have the whipped cream and the cherry because we got it without that. And they're like, look at us eating it with the whipped cream.
Badasses.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I do have to ask though. I'm more of a gamer nerd. I'm not a Sonic nerd. pun intended, because I'm not I'm
Gotta eat fast.
Super Nintendo guy talking about
Super
Genesis.
Nintendo guy, Sega Genesis, Sonic. Joke.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But when you're sitting down to do like a review for a game, can you give us like an idea of what games have taken you by surprise the most, and maybe a couple games that maybe were disappointing in a little bit?
An early game that was a super big disappointment that I played as a kid that I wanted to like but just couldn't was Bayou Billy.
Oh, because it's Konami.
Well, I love Konami games, but for some reason that one had issues with like the hitboxes and the movement, and I couldn't ever do it. I was getting really, really upset with it. And during that time I was playing a lot of great Konami games, some of my favorites, Contra and Jackal and a whole bunch of others. But for some reason, man, that one really, really, really pissed me off. And in fact, it's one of the only videos I uploaded to my channel where I was actually sort of like angry video game nerd style. And it was the only time I did it. And I was genuinely upset. And I'm like, I don't know if okay, well, it's kind of fun and funny, but I'm not going to be like this. Like it was crazy, crazy maddening. So that one really got me. Some other games that are, what was the question that surprised me?
Oh, just that surprised you. Like maybe you found a game that you had never heard of and you end up playing it. It was like, wow, this is all of a sudden one of my favorite games ever.
There's actually a couple. There's a game on PSP called Mach. It's like a fighter jet kind of futuristic flight game, but it's more like arcade style, almost like I'm drawing a blank. What's the most popular fighter jet game that everyone knows?
Afterburner.
Afterburner. Yeah, it's kind of similar to that in a way. Great game. Y'all should check that out. There's also another one on Game Boy Advance. What is it called? Iridium?
Iridium. Yeah, Iridium and Iridium 2. The graphics on those games are off the charts great.
Dude,
yeah.
right? Yeah, totally great games.
The pixel art there is like go Google that right now if you're listening to this, because that game looks beyond what GBA should be capable of. But by the way, when you say mock, you don't mean mock like mock turtleneck. You mean like MACH.
Correct.
Correct. Just so everybody listening.
But when you play the game, you have to wear a turtleneck. I thought that's actually how it's played. But
gotcha, right on.
Yeah, that's just a few that stand out.
I do need to bother you about one more thing, though, because my favorite recent video of yours is about a game that is kind of near and dear to my heart, but for kind of goofy reasons, and that's Rush 2 for N64.
Oh, dude.
Just because of the stunt track, I swear I put like hundreds of hours just goofing off on the stunt track of that game, because first of all, the music is kind of just very late 90s techno, low rent budget dollar store.
Totally.
Yeah, and it
has this weird sound effects too in there. It's like,
yeah,
it's like what am I listening to?
And you do it's so great because the physics are so dumb, and you fly around and you do 1,000 flips, you'll land on all 4 tires, and then all of a sudden your car will just like flip over mysteriously and explode. And it makes me laugh every time, and that's why I still revisit that game every once in a while. It's like, yes, somebody else loves this game. And it's for the same reasons that I love it, because of the stupid stunt track. I love it. So
that makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah, I wanted to shout that out because I was like, yeah, Rush 2. I'm all about Rush 2. I'm not a big N64 guy, but that's one of my favorites for it because of that stunt track. It's freaking, it's so much fun.
If you can go in and turn on there's a cheat menu in that game too. And if you can figure out how to get in there and turn on, they have gravity, you can turn on light. That stunt course gets bananas. You have to get in there with that.
So is that a Game Genie thing or?
No. So this was back before we had internet and all that. Well, we had internet, but we weren't looking up cheat codes online for this. Somehow I figured it out. I was just in the options and I was like mashing every button on the controller for whatever reason. Maybe I was like mad or something, and I was like pushing all the buttons, and then all of a sudden it goes, and the little cheat thing popped up. I'm like, wait, what? And you scroll down to it, and I just continue to mash buttons, and you have to unlock the cheat code within the cheat section, which is weird, right? You unlock the cheat code area and you go in and then they're all grayed out. There's like, I don't know, 30 of them, all these different cheat codes. It's not a Game Genie thing. It's built into the game. And
then there's an anti-gravity mechanism that allows you to just stay in the air forever.
Not forever, but yeah, a long time. Like I found a way to jump off of the big purple like half pipe in the corner of the map and go out of bounds. And you can just drive in the dirt, which is completely black, just blackness out there. And you just keep driving, and then eventually you fall off the out of bounds, and your car is spinning so fast that it looks like it's stationary.
That's awesome.
It's
I'm looking
insane.
that up like as soon as we're done here, because
I think did I do it at the end of my video? I think I may have. I don't remember.
You talked about the half pipe and the crash course.
Okay.
After the stunt thing. I don't
remember
you
what I did.
but I'm sure it's on GameFAQs.
Yeah, for sure.
I can
just go look up the cheat codes, get in there, and yeah, man. I mean, I skipped school when that day came out. I remember going to Toys R Us, buying that game, and going home. It was like a Tuesday morning. Me and my friends all walk in the house. My mom's like, "So, what the hell are you guys doing home?" Just like, Mom, Rush 2, duh.
Dude, by the way, you're totally right. To access cheat menu, hit all 4 C buttons, the Z button, and the 2 shift buttons.
There it is. So that's what I was just fucking mashing
you were just
on it.
mashing.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Dude, I've been breaking games for so long. What is wrong with me? Please send help. Send help. So cool.
That's great. I definitely need to do that because I love that stunt course. It's so dumb. I love it.
It changes everything when you can turn on a few of those cheats. And then also, just a real quick tip, because you're such a Rush fan like me, turn gravity on heavy when you go race the normal game. It keeps the car more planted. And dude, the handling is like so much better. It's less slidey and drifty. And I'm
sure, yeah.
Dude,
and then you play as the van and you won't tip over for once?
For once, exactly. Hitting these corners too goddamn hard.
Yeah, man, this is a good segue because I was going to bring up how you are a big racing game aficionado. In fact, if I had to point to anyone in the retro game space, who specializes in the racing games, it's going to be Jason Heine.
Oh man,
so
appreciate that.
Maybe, yeah. So what are some modern racing games people should check out, and maybe what are some of your favorite old school racing games?
Oh my gosh, big question. Yeah. Well, we talked about Rush. I don't need to repeat it. That's one of the greatest. I love Rush, Cruisin' USA. Those are early great games. I love arcade racing games. Burnout. Cannot talk without saying Burnout. Burnout 2. Pretty much all of them. Takedown, fantastic. I love
Paradise.
Yeah, Paradise, minus the camera angle. I have issues with that camera angle, but that's another story. The thing is that, you know how some people like, and there's nothing wrong with this. People like what they like, and that's totally fine. I enjoy a wide range of racing games. So, like, I recently this year, I said, you know what? I'm going to do me. I'm going to do something for me. And I bought myself, for the very first time, a real racing simulator rig for the house. I bought the 32-inch curved screen. I got the racing seat. I bought the Thrustmaster pedals, the wheel. I got the 8 shifter on the floor. I've got the sequential shift. I've got the full meal deal here. And I want to get into, I played some iRacing, which is insane. It's so cool. That's probably the most hardcore sim ever made. But I love playing sim games. Like tomorrow, like I'm playing Project Cars 3 tomorrow. I've got it pre-ordered, ready to go. It's launching tomorrow. Can't wait to get involved with that. But play that on the sim rig. But then you can also just pick up a controller and have fun playing some retro stuff, dude. Like one of my favorite games is RC Pro-Am on the NES back in the day from Rare. Shout out. Super Sprint from Atari. Those are some early top-down racing games. I love Codemasters. I love Micro Machines. I love... maybe I'm just going to ramble off. Onrush on PS4. That's a more recent game. Great stuff there. Let's see, what else? Play the shit out of Crew 2. That's a fun game. Not the greatest. Ubisoft, what are you guys doing? Get your shit together. But that's a great game.
Not hearing a lot of Super Nintendo here.
Oh, I mean, we haven't got the Super Nintendo yet. How can you go wrong with Mario Kart, with F-Zero? How can you go wrong with Top Gear 3000? How do you go wrong with these games? One of the greatest racing games is actually kind of sim on Super Nintendo. Test Drive 2. You ever played that one?
Not all that familiar with it. No, let me make a note of that.
Yeah,
Test Drive 2.
I got you on that one.
You got
gotta
me.
Check that out.
You got the drunk
check it
guy.
out.
That's hard to do.
It's, man. It's a game to where you have like a choice of 3 vehicles. It's like a Testarossa. What else is in there? I don't know. There's a couple of cars in there, but it's very much like it's cockpit only. Think about that. Super Nintendo cockpit only view in a car, right? You've got the wheel up there. You can actually put on manual transmission and shifting actually matters. Like if you redline it for a long time, you'll blow your engine and lose a life. Like this is some legit racing on that console. And I love it. Sometimes I just have the music stuck in my head and I'll just go into the room here, pop in the cart and just be like, I got to play it. I have to play it right now. Yeah, it's great. And it's kind of like a sim. And you go to the gas station and stop and they fill it up and then you're back on the next course. And yeah, check that out. You'll love that.
Right on. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Did you play Horizon Chase Turbo, Jason?
Yeah, I did. Actually, yeah, I know those guys over there. Great team, great group of guys. They're fantastic. What an awesome game. It's very much like, it's a throwback. Throwback to that Top Gear, except it's blazing fast. It's so great.
And a lot of extras.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And their DLC too. Like they've supported that game immensely. I think that's really, really great to see.
Right.
Yeah, man. And speaking of throwbacks, I kind of wanted to segue into this for you. You're pretty involved in an up-and-coming racing project that releases pretty soon. Is that right? Can you talk about that?
Oh, my gosh. Can we please? This has been like 6 years in the making for me specifically. Yeah, man. Very, very cool. We actually today, this is actually really cool that it happened today, and I'm able to talk about it finally, that September 10th, just a few weeks away here, Hotshot Racing is going to be released. PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, Steam. It's going live. And I haven't been able to talk about it for a very long time. And so now the cat's out of the bag. It's great. Hotshot Racing is a throwback, virtual racing inspired polygon racing game that is modeled after the early 90s racing style. And it's done by Lucky Mountain Games. Lucky Mountain Games is the guy by the name of Trev Lay. He used to be Rockstar London, but he's worked on games like Burnout. He's done APB. He's worked on Outrun. He's done a bunch of racing games, Midnight Club, to name a few. And so at his time there, he's definitely involved with racing. But went off on his own to create his own independent label and started to work on a game. At the time, it was called Racing Apex. And what was really cool about that is, it was a really small team of people. And I got involved actually, it was about 2015 is when I got involved because I saw it on YouTube. I saw like an early trailer and I'm like, oh my God, I'm the racing dude. I love polygon. Like, dude, I owned Virtual Racing arcade game at one point. I love that. It's such an amazing game. It inspired so much. It changed my life. So yeah, I just wanted to get involved with it. And I wrote to him and long story short, I got involved and I sold myself. And that's always a big thing that I preach when I talk about, inspirational, like sell yourself, be confident in your ability. And it was just one of those moments where I took a chance. I shot in the dark and I was like, let me do the soundtrack to this game, period. And he's like, go, show me. And I did, man. I went out and here we are. I produced 12 songs for the game. And, wow. Yeah, man. Sumo Digital stepped in. They saw it. They caught wind of it. We wanted to scale the game past what we were able to do as independent. So Sumo Digital, the incredible Sega, second party developers there who did Outrun, of course, Sega and Sonic All-Star Racing, to name a few. I mean, there's literally hundreds of games they've done, but they stepped in and they're the ones that took charge of it and basically remade the entire game. And man, it's great. I cannot wait for everyone to play it. And I would love to get on the track with all of you and play some online races. And it's really a love letter and probably the greatest achievement of my entertainment and musical career to produce the music for that game. It's it's amazing.
What were some of your musical influences that went into that?
So a lot of the games that we've already talked about in the racing genres definitely were. And what I have done is I went back. I wanted to make this very special. And whether people will hear this, well, they won't hear this. I know they won't. But pretty much what I did is I took assets from the game, pictures, videos, this and that, and very early on, before we even had a prototype or an alpha of the game, I would look at this stuff, but then I would model my music based off of like the visuals and the color palettes and the styles and the artwork and that. So what I did is like if we had like, you know, a casino level or something, I would go in and I would really look at the colors, and I would say, okay, you know, what would I use for this type of for sound? So I would go back, and I have like drum machines from the 90s. I have old keyboards from the 80s. I got a Yamaha DX7. I got a D50. I have a whole bunch of early hardware that would have been used in that day to produce music, which in a lot of the stuff was used for some of these early games and DOS games and things. So I would use the physical hardware to get the authentic sounds that would have been used in, like, say, the early 90s for the soundtrack. And that is like, nobody will hear that like on the surface. They'll just be like, oh, it's great or whatever. But like the fact is that these pieces of analog gear provide something unique, something special that and you'll inherently love and not really know why and or how, but it's going to hit you a certain way. And you know, all this stuff, like even the drum sounds, man, I'm using like some of this is like Lindrum early stuff, using old Yamaha like RY30 drum machines and all these things to get authentic sounds. And man, it's just been a love letter. But like F-Zero, Wipeout, Ridge Racer, Baja, all these games where I sat down and listened to these soundtracks, and then I used them as inspiration to create something all original that was era and period specific, but also handcrafted and perfectly fit for this game. So that is what happened, and it's been like 5 years, 6 years in the making, and man, it's going to be great. And I'm just super proud of it. Super proud.
Oh, congratulations. I'm so happy for you, man.
Thanks,
It's
Thank
clear
you.
you really care about it a lot.
It's really impressive. And I saw the trailer for it today. It's the first time I'd seen a trailer. Did you do the music that's in that trailer?
I did the music in the first trailer at the reveal trailer that they launched.
Okay.
But
so
not the second
not
one.
the one that was tweeted. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. Cool. I'm excited either way, man. I kind of had heard about it, but it wasn't until like the last couple weeks kind of paying attention to you more that I really got invested in it. And now I am super stoked. And it's cool because it comes out very soon, so I don't have to be teased and tantalized for too long.
Totally. Yeah. It's been a long time coming, and people don't understand sometimes what it takes, especially from like an indie studio and then migrating into something it's bigger than it originally was. But then we had to actually go back to the drawing board and rebuild the game in a different game engine. We were originally building it in Unity, and, we've since moved on into Sumo's, proprietary game engine, the same game engine that Sonic All-Stars is built off of. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's way cool. And it just takes a long time, man. Takes a long time. And I know everyone wants it. I mean, I've got people that are, I'll say they're very passionate about that. And I appreciate that greatly. But, the wait is over, and it is finally here. And it's just a great moment, man. That happened this morning, too, the announcement. It was just great.
Yeah, I saw the tweet, and then I sent it over to Alex and was like, it's a good day to talk to this guy.
For sure.
That's good. Nice coincidence there.
It really is.
For sure.
All right. So we have some listener questions, and let's see here. We have one here from Jake, a man named Jake. He asks, are retro-inspired independent games oversaturating the current gaming landscape? Funny we ask you that. What do you think about that, Jason?
Are retro games? What is he meaning again? Are they oversaturated, like new retro-inspired games, or what's the?
Yeah, like are retro-inspired, and he says independent, but I guess it doesn't really have to be. Are retro-inspired games oversaturating the current gaming landscape?
I think that's a great question. And just, I would say that, are there a lot of retro inspired games currently on the market? And to his point, yes. because a lot of people have access to these tools now. A lot of people have access to dev kits. A lot of people have access to Unity. A lot of people have access to this stuff, and they can just kind of create their own thing. I mean, some of the best games we've ever played was created from, a group of two in their basement, making a game and then putting it on itch.io or whatever and just releasing it. So, yeah, I mean, is it oversaturating? I don't know that it's oversaturating. I guess it kind of is, yeah. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. We do see a lot more shit come through because of that, and that's just the byproduct of that. But, I think it's a good thing. I think it's good for people to be creative and put their stuff out there. Whether it's good or not, that's subjective. So, I mean, some of the greatest games I ever played were just terrible, and I love terrible games. I love shovelware. My Wii collection is massive with shovelware, and I love it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, people are smart. I think most people are smart enough to say, like, this game is good, this game is crap, like, pretty quickly. Like, look at something like Micro Mages. That game's pretty damn good. And that's like an NES inspired platformer. It's 2-player co-op. It's such a well-made game. It's fun. Even stuff like Streets of Rage 4.
So good.
When you crank that, retro dial up a little bit and smooth it out with a little more polish. There's stuff like that. And then you've got stuff like Blazing Chrome and Crosscode and Cosmic Star Heroine. Even I'm not all that thrilled with that game, but it's still pretty damn good. It's I don't see it as a problem because I understand that there's obviously I do think there is. It's the old meme of like, oh, it's another summer Steam summer sale, and I just bought 25 games I'll never play. But you know what? I play a few of them every once in a while, and they're pretty damn good. Like Stardew Valley is one of my favorite games of all time, ever. Like, I love that game so much, and that's obviously a retro inspired game. That's the creator got to meet. I saw the video where he got to meet the creator of Harvest Moon, the initial director and developer of the first Harvest Moon game for Super Nintendo. And the dude was like overcome with emotion and asking him all sorts of questions and stuff like that.
That's huge. Yeah.
Cool. It was a really cool moment. And and that guy made that game by his freaking self.
Yeah.
He's still doing all sorts of updates. A couple of years ago, he did a multiplayer update. So now long distance couples can play and like spend time with each other in the game. How cool is that? Like,
so cool. Yeah.
That's off. That's another tangent entirely. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and Tom Happ is another one it's amazing what he's able to do by himself with Axiom Verge 2. I would say it's not really oversaturating. I think it's kind of replacing, because I don't have any stats to prove this, and I definitely don't have my ear to the ground for modern games, but I feel like there are less AAA games coming out because they're harder to make. It takes like a whole country to make a. Have you seen the credits roll on a GTA game?
Oh, dude, get your popcorn. Yeah,
it's insane. So I mean, it takes a lot to go into those AAA games, and I think we're seeing a lot of the void that's left behind there replaced with games like this. And if a game being a 2D platformer makes it retro inspired or whatever, that's cool with me. I say load them up. The cream will rise to the top.
Yeah, for sure.
Cream will rise to the top. Ooh, yeah.
Thank you.
That's my macho man. But yeah, no, I'm watching my girlfriend play through Ghost of Tsushima here and there, and she loves it. But at the same time, it's like, holy crap, the amount of work that went into this game is just absolutely insane. It's like an armada of programmers and developers and people, and whereas there's something to a game just being simple. Like, I love the game Don't Starve. That's always my go-to example. You're just a guy or a gal placed in the middle of the wilderness, and you got to use what's around you to try and survive and not starve. And I love stuff like that because it's so simple. But at the same time, though, there are some games you'll find on your phone, or some of these pseudo retro games that are just blatant cash grabs. Like, hey, remember, I don't know, Tecmo Bowl? Well, then you'll love this. And it's like just some blatant like DLC nonsense that's just like, you get to play one game, but now you got to pay us $5 to unlock the next game, and you unlock rosters, and now you got to unlock the uniforms, or I don't know. There's some ridiculous crap out there, but overall,
my nostalgia, I can see right through that, and that I don't like. Yeah.
And I think most people are smart enough to see that. So
yeah, except for Hotshot Racing, that's preying on my nostalgia, and I love it. I do love that.
And there's no loot boxes. There's no extra stuff. You can unlock everything in game.
None of that nonsense.
Bruh, so good.
Hell yeah. All right. Second question.
Second question is from our friend Dan, the guy Console Wars fellow. He asks, what old TV show or movie would make an awesome game today?
So I'll take a run at it. Yeah.
If you're gonna do like an MMORPG or like a Ghost of Tsushima or even like a Stardew Valley type game for any old TV or show or movie, what would it be?
Well, yeah, I think, it's funny because we just talked about how much we liked the retro-inspired games. But I think if I wanted to make a game based on something that I loved, I think I would want it to be a high-fidelity game. I'd want to immerse myself in it as much as possible. And I always thought, now this is nostalgia layered on nostalgia, but I feel like the Never-Ending Story would have been a fun video game, even back in the day. Like a Never-Ending Story.
That's a great pick.
Because it's an adventure, it's a love story. There's villains, there's boss battles throughout the whole movie.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah, so that would be great. It would fit perfectly in a 2D retro inspired format. But I'd be lying to myself if I didn't say it would be kind of cool to also see it come to life a little more with a AAA type thing. Ride around on some Falcor. Hopefully your horse doesn't drown. That'd be sad. I wouldn't want to see that again. But that'd be my choice.
I don't know how to top that. I need to think.
I was say, shit, how do I go on top of that one?
Go ahead, Jason. Ball's in your court.
Shit, I really don't have a great answer for this. I'm trying to think. And this, I feel like
I would go with like a Seinfeld MMORPG. I want to be somebody in the one. Seinfeld. Really?
I think so.
Where you can just be some rando in the Seinfeld universe, and then you just come across like George freaking out about something, like he's dressed as a Shakespeare kid thing, trying to convince somebody that he's not crazy, and then you go see Kramer, and he's like pushing one of those carts with Newman riding in it or something like that. And yeah,
I was gonna say something like Knight Rider, but we already have, I think we have a Knight Rider NES game, and also I guess that's basically like Cyberpunk now, so which is coming out at some point in our lives. So yeah, I don't really know. I've always wanted just something, I guess not really movie related at all, but I've always just kind of wanted something in like Flight Sim. Well, I just started playing Flight Sim 2020, and I love how real time that is. How it uses real time weather data, real time airport and traffic data. That's
so cool.
Yeah, like like if we're having like a storm outside and I get in a plane and fly in game over the house, I'll be in that storm. Like
that would stress me out big time.
Yeah, it's a really interesting and exciting element to a game that I've never experienced before. So a part of me is kind of like, wait a minute. I would love to have, even if it's just a sandbox, even if it's kind of like half the size of like a Grand Theft Auto world, but have just some sort of like real time game, even if it's like VR, non-VR, whatever, but like real time where you just enter this world and it's the real world. You can get in and out of cars. You can go in and out of every home. You can knock on doors. I don't know. Just, it would be really cool to have almost a real life simulator in a way.
Yeah. Is that what drew you to The Crew a while back? Because it was more, not that it was more of a simulator, but it did sort of simulate a bit of the US, and Absolutely. It had some of those elements where they tried to marry it a little bit with real life.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. And I think that's kind of the passion that a lot of us had early on when we started playing games like the early Grand Theft Auto, where we had open world, where we could just explore. And I was kind of like, whoa, this is so cool. I can't wait to see it expanded on. I don't think we've actually hit that threshold yet of being able to truly go into a world and experience everything that it has to offer. Like, you can walk around in Grand Theft Auto or whatever, but you can't like go into every single house or explore every single little thing. I think that would be really neat. Like just a real life one-to-one of the world.
I think the best template for a TV show, like an open world, the best realization that I've seen are the two South Park games that came out within the past few years: The Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole. Very classily titled, but those two do such a good job bringing the South Park universe to life while keeping it, it's not really open world, but kind of is, but it still pushes you in a certain direction. All the characters are there. I'd love to see a game like that brought to life with like Beavis and Butthead or like Ren and Stimpy or Space Ghost
or the Simpsons universe. I think that would be great.
Simpsons universe. Yeah. Or any animated Bob's Burgers, any animated show, really. It's a perfect fit for it. I really think South Park nailed it with both Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole.
They're very funny games too.
Oh yeah, they're freaking hilarious.
Yeah, the writing's incredible.
Well, I guess we've reached the end of our Drunk Friend episode, but before we get out of here, Jason, you said were you going to stream that thing tomorrow? The game that you're picking up?
Yes, absolutely. I am.
So this podcast comes out tomorrow morning. So yeah, Project Cars 3. So this podcast is going to come out tomorrow. So if people catch it early, what time can they find you streaming that?
Just basically just go to my website. That's the main place where you're going to find all the links. Heinehouse.com, HEINE, Heinehouse.com. But I'm on Twitch, same name there, Heine House. Check it out. And I'm on 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and I do a DJ stream. We do some music on Saturday nights. We hang out, we party, we have a good time. So, it's been great to chat and meet you guys. It's been great to meet your community, and it's awesome, just totally awesome to continue to network with like-minded individuals. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I love to hang out and talk games and stuff. So I appreciate it. Thanks again.
Well, you're such a positive dude. It's hard not to, you seem like one of those guys where it's like, you don't like Jason? Well, what's your problem? What's wrong? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? So you seem like a really happy dude. So thanks for coming on and spending time with us.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
All right. That's been another Drunk Friend podcast. As always, you could reach out to us with any questions or comments at drunkfriendpodcast@gmail.com. We might even read one of those emails out here on the show. If you want to hear more podcasts from our crew, check out polykill.com and poke around.
And if you got nothing to say in an email, no worries. You can still contribute to the podcast by rating and reviewing it wherever you listen. It helps us out a lot, and it only takes 1 second.
It might take up to 5, but at most 5 seconds. You can find us on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Trav Plays Games. Alex is, of course, at SNES Drunk, and you can find Jason at Heine House.
And that music you heard at the beginning and right here at the end was composed by our friend Coolor. The theme song is called Electric Starbounce, and you can find a link to more of his music on the Buzzsprout podcast page. And if our logo has you thirsty, you can thank Josh Leslie for that. And we're all very glad he's safe from Hurricane Laura from last night. Godspeed, Josh. Hang in there.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Well, be sure to catch us all on YouTube and Twitch. And thanks for listening.
And we hope you have a great rest of your day.